Everyone, welcome to the August 21st, 2018 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We're glad you're with us this morning. We will begin as we always do with an invocation, and I'd like to welcome Father Larry McBride from Holy Name Catholic Church, who will lead us in prayer. Please stand.
And let us pray. Our good and gracious God, we are thankful for all your many gifts and blessings. We ask you to bless us with wisdom today, to guide our conversations, that we may have the wisdom to listen to one another and to make sound decisions for the larger good. Bless us with the ability to seek the needs of those who have no voice, the least among us, that we may lift up their needs and be attentive to their cries. As we begin this new school year, we ask you to bless our students throughout the county, that this may be a productive, safe year for all of our students, that they may grow in wisdom, maturity, and life. We ask you to bless our county, that we may continue to do your will in all that we do, that we may be productive in service and in product, that we may be productive in living our lives in service to you. Help us always to know that you are with us and to listen to your call. And we ask all of this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Father Larry. We appreciate it, as always. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate Warren.
Here.
Magistrate Alexander.
Here.
Magistrate Todd.
Here.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Here.
Gentlemen, you have before you the minutes of the August 7th, 2018 Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other further corrections, additions, or clarifications? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd.
Aye.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Thank you. First, we have Mr. Jim Askins of the Kentucky Wired Project, who's here to give us an update on that very important concept and project, and we're glad you're with us today, Jim.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it. Excuse me. I've been making rounds around my part of the state. This is about my 55th or so fiscal court meeting. I was in Hickman County last night. Just always try to keep people updated on this. I appreciate your time. The Kentucky Wire Project is a public-private partnership that began under Governor Beshear and has continued under Governor Bevin. And the goal of it is to install fiber optic cable, high-speed broadband, the infrastructure in all 120 counties in Kentucky to get the broadband access closer to each community in all the counties. Like I said, it's a public-private partnership. The state created the Kentucky Communications Network Authority, the KCNA. That's who's overseeing the project at the state level. I'm on the private side of it, and what we are is the Design Build LLC. We are a joint LLC comprised of Black & Veatch and Leadcore companies. And we have designed the project, we are managing construction of the project, and we also have the company I work for, Leadcore. We have the 30-year maintenance agreement on the project. Now what it is, it's the largest P3 telecom project in the country, and over 3,400 miles of fiber optic cable is going to be installed. To put that in perspective, Miami to Seattle is about 3,000 miles, so it's going to be a lot of cable installed. One thing I always want to make sure that you understand, this is what's called a middle mile project, okay? We do not go to homes or businesses. What we do is, I'm glad I've got this water. What we do, we go to homes. We don't go to homes and businesses. We go to the sites that the KCNA determine that we go to. You know, I have a list of that here in a little bit. I can send that to you. The Tom Massey at Grad also has that list. Excuse me, I did this a couple of weeks ago. Apologize, Judge.
It's all right. Take your time.
The state is divided up into 6 rings, and the state is divided up into 6 rings, and Henderson County is in Ring 4, and that's scheduled to be completed October 13th of 2020. The entire project is scheduled to be completed in 2020. Ring 1A is the Golden Triangle, and Frankfurt is included in that, and that's where most of it's going to. It's scheduled to be completed July 10th. So July 10th, October 13th is not a big gap in that, but Henderson County is scheduled to be completed in October 13th of 2020. Henderson County is on the backbone, and what that means is there's about cable this big that has 288 strands in it. The route coming through Henderson County, the east-west route is along US 60 coming from Davis County going into Union County, and from downtown west over to Union County, that is what's called a lateral line. You only have 72 strands going over to there. Going down to Webster County along 41, that's where the rest of the backbone goes, and that feeds much of West Kentucky, so that's where it goes down through there. The sites in Henderson County, there are 12 of them, and like I said, Judge, I can send those to you if you would like to have those. But 12 will be connected at this time by us, and KC&A, again, determine those sites. We didn't have anything to do with it. So, this is an important project for a lot of different reasons, because this infrastructure for economic development in particular, but so many other areas, this infrastructure is just as important as your highways, your transportation system, your water, sewer, everything like that. So, this is something that's been talked about for a long time, and there's been a lot of questions about it. Those questions have been answered. The funding questions have all been taken care of. This is funded. We are working our way west. We've installed huts actually in Henderson County, Davis County, Hopkins County, Christian County, and fiber has been installed as far west as in the Owensboro area and also in Breckenridge County. So we are moving this way. You'll see more work and progress going over in this area sometime late this year or early next year is when that will be. So when our crews are out here, you'll see those, and what I want to do is give you my business cards. My contact information is on this. If y'all have any questions, email me or contact me, phone me or whatever. But I would like to give you a phone number. If you have any constituents or just any people, the general public, that have any questions or anything, please give them this number. It goes to our call center. We're more easily able to track things and stuff like that, issues, anything that may arise. But that number is 888-511-9918, 888-511-9918. If you would give that out to any people in the general public that have questions, I would appreciate it. Our website is KentuckyWireProject.com. The state website is KentuckyWire.ky.gov. Both of those websites are updated on a regular basis, and there's a lot of information on that that's very helpful for you, constituents, or whatever the case may be. So, I want to try to get through this as quickly as possible. If you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to entertain those, Judge, if you have, if you want to do that at this time.
Jim, are there models emerging that more rural counties such as ours can use to develop last mile connectivity for residents, or even if that is possible at this point or anticipated? Because that'll be the question we get, is how do we get this service to residents? Anything emerging out there is a good model for us to follow.
Well, I mean, when you're talking about this region, I grew up in Davis County. I lived in Ohio County 14 years, so you do have Connect Grad in this area, and I have spoken with Connect Grad's people, and they are looking at where their towers are along the backbone, where they can connect to it to help enhance that. I live in Oldham County now, and Judge, our judge there has actually purchased what's called an overbuild. They're adding additional fiber to do things there. That's still some early planning stages with that. They're not sure what they're going to do with it, but as far as any concrete plans, there's just a lot of discussions right now. A lot of that, I know when you and I met last year, a lot of the counties were reluctant to move forward because of the questions about the project. So now committees are being formed, and those types of things are happening now. But as far as any concrete plans for rural communities, I'm not aware of those at this time.
Can I raise my hand to be on any committees you form? Please keep me in mind, because I do want to be in the conversation. Mr. Wilkerson, Magistrate Wilkerson, had a company that rented some space from him on some poles that are on your property. Remind me the name of that company you mentioned to me. Green something?
Yeah, I think it's called Green River Wireless, I believe is what it is.
Do you have a subcontractor here under that name by chance?
I do not have the list of subcontractors. I will say this: we've been hiring. Every time I go into the office, there's a lot of new people. And Green River, it was Green River.
I think it's Green River Wireless.
I'll check with that and see and get back with you on that. Any of our subcontractors, though, they should identify themselves properly and everything and state that they're part of this project. If they don't, that's one of the issues that I need to know about, so please let me know. But I can find that for you and get back with you on that. I'd be happy to do that. And you mentioned too, like with one thing I am doing with the fiscal court meetings being completed or close to completed for me, Caldwell County, especially, there's quite a few counties that are putting together just group meetings and things like that, just to kind of get the discussions going. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I could do if y'all would ever want to do anything like that, and I'll try not to have dry mouth next time when I do that. But if you want to do anything like that, I'd be happy to. But I will stay in contact with you and let you know as more concrete plans come up that I will let you know about those. Rural development, they did have some money available earlier in the year. I think that I know that deadline has passed. Whether any more money's become available, I don't know. I don't know if Ms. Legg has spoken or you've heard her speak about any of this, but she's been going around the state speaking about that as well.
And truthfully, at the moment, we don't know what to apply for yet. We still have to figure out what it looks like for us in Henderson County, but we'll be at the front of the line if we can be. And we have our own resources to invest, too, if
Right.
we feel like it can really serve a vast majority of our rural areas, because it is a crying need, as you well know. And
Absolutely.
any other questions from Mr. Askin? Very, very interesting subject, and I'm glad to know that Kentucky Wired has survived the transition of administrations as moving forward, too.
How much money would be available, if you'll go back to say, how much money would be available and how much money would, if, like, say, the judge had a project, is there a maximum amount, or how's it going to be allocated, I guess is my question.
Well, when you're talking about the different grant programs or anything like that, when you're talking about rural development, the president in the omnibus budget back in the late winter, early spring, put in $600 million for across the nation for broadband, but that was all through rural development and things like that. So that's a question for rural development. I don't have any information as far as specific grants or anything like that. I have heard of other communities doing some things, not just with that program there, but I know that KIA, because this is being viewed as part of infrastructure, that there are some KIA programs, loans and things like that are available as well, because this is part of, it's a utility infrastructure type of thing.
So first, but you're saying there's $600 million. So it's at least now one of these projects that's been suggested and promoted by government, but with no money. There really is some money out there. And then I know there's grants, but
That the rural development was doing that, and that passed, I think, at the end of May was the deadline for that. And again, whether additional monies will be allocated or appropriated, I don't know.
That's $600 million for the entire country.
yeah,
Right, and
country.
that's for the country
but,
too,
But
right?
a lot of times government does a project and say, now y'all go out and raise the money locally.
Yeah.
At least in this case, there was some federal money.
What I can envision is, for most counties, some sort of P3 arrangement where we get in business with somebody, like through Connect Rad, for example, with Q Wireless, which is their contractor for Connect Rad, and we work out some sort of cost-sharing arrangement, but also sharing revenue to help pay off whatever money we invest, something along those lines. I'm sure that's being explored, or we can just simply have a bond and invest our part for the good of the community, depending on what works best. We got to work through some of these questions, but I just the fact that we are going to have a spine through our county gives us more options, and hopefully there will be some grant money out there for.
Well, I know that up in northeast Kentucky, Mason County, Robertson, up in that area, up Bracken, I haven't been up there in the last couple of months, but they've been talking about some type of a regional P3 partnership or something like that up there's right, that type of thing too. So again, because of all the questions that were associated with the project, people were somewhat reluctant, but now things that there's a lot more discussions now, and with the deadline coming up or the scheduled completion in 2020, people are anxious to get going on it and be able to access it as soon as possible. So those plans are forthcoming, and we'll be hearing about them, communicating them.
And have you heard any kind of either pushback or partnership talk from AT&T on the Kentucky Wired project?
No, it's just rural Kentucky hasn't been, it's just not adequately served. And one of the things too that even with this project and AT&T and some of the others that have been expanding their networks, U.S. News has a report, I don't know if it's annual or not, but that they rank the internet access for each state. And Kentucky was 48th last year. This year it's 36th. AT&T's had something to do with that. This project has had something to do with that. But, they're expanding their networks and doing things. And I just hope that we can all kind of partner together and, where AT&T or Spectrum or whoever is not serving, that this can fill in that gap. And whether it's wireless, using wireless technology like AT&T or some others do, or even the fiber optic itself doing that, the big thing is trying to expand this in rural communities so that we can have a better advantage in economic development in other areas as well.
Counties can't compete with AT&T, but if AT&T won't serve all the people we need served, then somebody has to plug the gap. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation over the next 2 years and seeing what rural counties can do.
Well, and I mentioned Oldham County, too. We have a young man up there. He's a one-man shop. He's up in the northern part of the county. He runs fiber himself. When we were having some community meetings, he would run fiber and come in and be on the committee and be in the meeting. Washington County, there's a little family company that's doing it wirelessly. They are expanding wirelessly in that area. So, my father and I had a small business a few years ago, and you have less overhead, and we competed against the big boys, and there's ways that you can do that, and there are entrepreneurial opportunities with this as well. So I'm anxious myself, as just to even see what people do and what they do to take advantage of this. So
I had a question. That number you gave us, would you the 888 number? Would you repeat that again?
Yeah, it's 888-511-9918.
9918, and that is the number.
Yes, sir. That's our call center. It goes to. Yes, sir. And whenever a call goes into that, we're notified of it. We track it, and it just if there's a pattern or anything like that comes up, then maybe we can spot something that and be proactive in addressing it.
Okay.
But that's what we do. It's just a better way for us to track it instead of doing a Post-it note or whatever.
Okay.
But that's it.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions for Mr. Askins? We look forward to having you back in the future and hearing the progress. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call to the podium Caleb May, representing Henderson County Public Library, and they're going to be presenting their 2018-19 tax rates. And I want to reiterate for media involved and anybody who will be watching this video later, the tax rates set by the library are not approved or disproved by the fiscal court. They're not developed by fiscal court. We acknowledge their receipt. The library is its own taxing district, and I'm sure they welcome any visitors to their board meetings to answer any questions about how they develop tax rates and how they expend their budget. And with that, I will hand it over to Mr. May.
Thank you, Judge Snyder, Clerk Weeson, and magistrate judges. I'd like to turn it over briefly to Bill Loney, our trustee board chairman, to read our adopted rates into the record.
Well, thank you very much. And as Caleb said, we appreciate your time and the opportunity to be here. I think we make this trip annually and this type of thing. I do represent the Henderson County Public Library Trustee Board. I would point out today that we have Joan Hoffman here and Susie Thurman. I think no one else. Additionally, Bobby Jarrett and Steve Tudell serve on that board with us. In July, after we looked at information that comes annually to us from the, I think officially it's called the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives, which is an affiliate of the Kentucky Library Department. They give you all kinds of information to help you determine what your financial needs are to maintain budget, etc. And you probably have a packet, I think, and at the top of one of those pages it says property tax rate certification. We voted in July to submit to you our request to go with what's called a compensating rate. Caleb's going to be here and talk more about that if you have questions, or I can. But if it's okay, I'll just simply read that to you now. The Henderson County Public Library District Board of Trustees hereby certifies that 10.2 cents per $100 assessed valuation of real property and 14.09 cents per $100 assessed value of personal property is the rate to be levied for the Henderson County Public Library District for the year 2018-19 in accordance with the provisions of KRS 132.023 as amended by the 1979 extraordinary session and the 1990 regular session of the Assembly. So I submit that to you today.
Be glad to stand for any questions.
What was the, how much new money is this going to be? Will this be new money? Compensating rate can either lower the rate or raise the rate. Where are we on that?
Correct. Jay Bank is the number cruncher at the Department of Libraries and Archives, and he contacts all of the property value administrators for the various counties across the Commonwealth, and they have a formula that they follow. I don't pretend to know all of the ins and outs of that, but they see what it would take given inflation and cost of living adjustments, all various things across the whole gambit of the economy, generally speaking, of what it would take to provide the same revenue for the taxing district for the next year. So, of course, as you say, in real dollars, it would be more. But they have a calculation on that with the building project, as some of you may be aware of, that we've been working toward as a library for several years. We've planned very carefully to make sure that we are allowing enough in our budget to carry that as we go forward. What we didn't plan on was the state getting quite as serious as they have recently about fixing the retirement system. And so we very much thought that we would have to go for the 4% increase, which we can do with a hearing before the public and so forth. So we were pleasantly surprised, we should say, that it appeared that our county is healthy enough that the compensating rate was projected to bring the revenue that we required, even with changes with contribution to the state retirement system. We are in the county, the CERS system, with our full-time employees, and that's not saying in the future we may not have to go above the compensating rate, but we felt that while that would make us probably overall healthier in the future going forward, because we know additional shoes are going to drop, we felt that it still was not justified at this point in time to exceed that compensating rate. So that is what we're asking for.
How much new money is this compensating rate going to bring in? Do you have
total
that
dollars?
Total dollars.
I don't have that with me. I can get that to you.
Okay.
I can provide you with anything from that report from KDLA.
If you would bring it to the judge's office, and I'm sure they'll make copies for us.
Certainly.
I'd also like, can you all give us a financial statement on like reserves and those types of things, how much the library has? Could you also issue that to the judge?
I can, and I will say that our budget this year, which is all public information as you look for, there is a $2 million amount that will be moved right out of reserves, right in down payment on our building project. Okay. And so that will still leave us with operating reserves that we are required to have. Right. But we are in a very healthy place. Again, it's been approximately 20 years that it's been in our mind that we really needed more space, in particular for meetings of the public and job fairs, job trainings, career fairs, college readiness fairs, literacy events, these sorts of things. We are just strapped really with just over 21,000 square feet in our current facilities, which sounds humongous. But when you look at the population of our county, the recommendation from the Department of Libraries and Archives is that we're less than half the size we really should be to fully serve a population such as we have. Our expansion is going to be 16,000 square feet on 2 levels, so that won't quite get us to where they think we should be, but we're confident that all things considered, it's very important to get that done, to make sure that we're engaging with our community to provide the best in literacy development, job readiness, and economic development that we can for the community, because it really is, people don't perhaps naturally think of the library as being a hub for information, for access to information, for resources, for retooling, for continuing education, for all these sorts of things, but that really is what we always have been to some extent, and more are. The number of folks that come to see us to actually check out physical items, take them home with them, and bring them back has declined in recent years, as is the case across the whole Commonwealth and the whole country. But the critical access for what we call the digital divide, and actually your last speaker was kind of speaking to this to some extent. The library has probably what we have right now is the best connection in our county, and anyone can come 24/7, 365, really, even if our doors are closed, and pick up Wi-Fi around the building and conduct business and download entertainment and do continuing education in these sorts of things. In fact, he said there's a list of 12 locations. I believe the library is one of those that will be on that Kentucky Wired project. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the main hub for that will be located about where the Kentucky State Police office is, and branch out to various entities in the community. And we're very happy and pleased to be a part of that process as well. But with all things considered, we feel that this expansion we're on the cusp of will be an excellent asset for the community for continued development, and we appreciate engaging with the community since 1904 officially, when we first opened our doors August the 1st. So we're very pleased to offer those services, even though they are changing in a lot of ways. So.
Okay. I'd just like to have that financial information for
Certainly.
I need to know, and I'd like to
Absolutely.
know, so if you could provide that for us, I'd appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. We'll be glad to do that. And I would like to respond sort of as a citizen myself, too, relative to your question about money that we had in reserves. This particular board operates under a long-range plan from many years back. And in that long-range plan, they not only knew, just from being in that building day by day, that there was a need for growth. They also, again, got information from the state through the statistics that we submit to them that indicated that the size of our library was woefully lagging behind what communities of our size should have. So they determined that we would enter into a building program after a period of time. Accordingly, they were cubby holding money and did. I don't know if we had things circulating around like the library had tons and tons of money, but we're pretty transparent. But we're going to be able to use some of the money that those before us were good stewards of and saved, and we'll be able to use that to apply toward this building project, and of course thereby reduce our debt service. So we're happy to have that money on hand, and we'd certainly be happy to show that too. We are audited every year. Riney Hancock, local CPA firm, did that this year. We continue to have good reports from them, good clean audits, and those kinds of things. But those are good questions. We'll get that information to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Got a quick, just technical question. I guess it's for Caleb. Your property tax rate certification talks about real property and personal property. The back form also has a rate listed for watercraft as one of the optional taxes that you wanted. Is that something separate that does not go in your tax rate certification?
That certification is from the statute of what we provide to you all, but out of total transparency, of course, we did provide you with all of those additional rates. And you'll notice one of those rates a couple of years ago, the aircraft board. The airport authority, I guess is the proper terminology, did come to our trustee board and request that in order to be on equal footing with Evansville, that we waive the aircraft tax, and I believe other taxing districts did as well at that time. The school board and some of the other entities, I believe, waived that. So aside from that, those other rates are in accordance with the real and personal rates that we've adopted. And also the motor vehicle 2.3, I believe that is set by law, and that's always the same. So.
Okay, I just want to make sure it didn't need to be in your certification.
Sure.
Well, that's a good question, but I think it probably has more to do with definition of properties, which is always confusing to me, but what you see there on the back is correct too, sir.
Gotcha.
Any more questions of Caleb? So they are submitting a real property tax rate of 10.2 cents and personal property at 14.09. And we will entertain a motion to acknowledge receipt of those tax rates.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? And we're acknowledging receipt of these.
The one that I was going to say, going along with what Charles has said, if, in providing that other information, might as well just provide your audited statements, just so we'll have that. That'll give us the balance sheet and your income and the whole kit and caboodle. So, yeah, let's just do that. Okay.
That's fine.
Anything else?
Good.
Please take a vote.
Magistrate Todd. Magistrate Wilkerson. Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
you to the members of the board. Next, to deliver the Green River Health Department tax rates, we have Jan Bratcher, Clayton Horton from the Green River District Health Department was wanting to be with us today, but his father passed away, and he asked forbearance on that. We certainly send along our condolences. Glad you're with us. So.
They have one in their packet.
Yeah.
Same
We
thing.
have. Yeah.
Kurt's really good.
Yeah. I mean, he is.
Well,
Stayed ahead of us.
there is no change in the rate this year for the Public Health Department, but I will read this. It says, now, therefore, be it resolved that there is hereby levied a special ad valorem tax upon all property subject to taxation in Henderson County, Kentucky, as provided by the KRS 212.755 at the rate of 5 cents per $100 of the assessed valuation of all real property, and at the rate of 5 cents assessed valuation of all personal property, and at the rate of 5 cents per $100 of the assessed valuation of all motor vehicles in Henderson County as of January the 1st, 2018. The motor vehicle tax will be applicable to the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2019. And these rates were voted on by our board at our April the 24th board meeting. So,
And to clarify, that is no change year
no
over year.
change.
Magistrate Alexander and Magistrate Todd both serve on that board. Any extra comments you want to make or any?
No, we feel like the health department's doing well and serving the people, and we felt like that we was going to hold the tax rate where it was. So that's what the board chose to do.
Any other questions of Ms. Bratcher? So I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge receipt of the 2018-19 Henderson County Health Department tax rates.
So moved.
So,
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd.
Aye.
Magistrate Wilkerson. Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren. Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
And again, to clarify, county government is one of 6 taxing districts that assess property taxes. They include the health department, the library, the state of Kentucky, the extension office, our school system, which takes up a vast majority, 59% plus of property taxes, as well as county government in each of these taxing districts set their own rates. Again, what we're doing is acknowledging receipt of those because we are the ones who collect it. So we appreciate the annual reports and progress and the work of the people who serve on the boards of those organizations. At our last meeting, you may recall that we took a vote to declare some road department equipment as surplus, and we made a bit of a mistake. One of the items, a few of the items, mowers specifically, had an incorrect model number. The model number listed at the time was DZ336, and they are in fact model number ZD33 so in order to clarify the record and correct it, I'll entertain a motion to correct the record and accept model number ZD331 on these mowers as the correct model number.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call for a vote.
Master Todd. Master Wilkerson. Master Alexander.
Aye.
Master Warren.
Aye.
Master Putman.
Aye.
Thank you. And also, we have two recommendations for members of the Housing Board of Appeals that we have developed. Both Donnie Beals and Trent McDonald have been recommended to us by Mr. Randy Tassa as willing to serve on the Henderson County Board of Housing Appeals. And this involves appeals of housing judgments and houses that have fallen into disrepair and are judged to be in need of some sort of fixing or clearing, and they have the ability to appeal, and this is the board that hears them. And again, Donnie Beals and Trent McConnell have both been recommended by Randy Tassa, and they've both agreed to serve. So I'll entertain a motion to accept their appointment to the Housing Board of Housing Appeals.
Move to recommend their recommendation.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other questions about that?
Judge, the ordinance does require certain statements or certain qualifications for those individuals. I know those individuals are qualified to do that, but I think it's probably best if we maybe have Randy put something on the record about their bona fides and ability to do that.
Randy, if you might come up. And as Steve Gold suggested, you might give us a little bit of background on Donnie Beals and Trent McConnell.
Yes, Trent McConnell is a licensed electrician. Has been doing so for numerous years. He was replacing a resignation of Jim Meadows, who was a licensed electrician serving on the board. Jim had some health concerns and was getting older, and says that he would rather let somebody a little younger than him to take his spot. I thought it would be a good fit to have another licensed electrician take his place. Donnie Beals is a licensed contractor in Henderson County. He's done work around Henderson for the 12 years I've been doing this job. I've never had any issues with his work. I thought it'd be a good fit being a licensed contractor, having general knowledge of construction.
Certainly sounds appropriate. So you have a motion and a second. Any other questions of Randy?
No, but I will agree with Randy. Both of these guys are very professional, and Donnie, particularly on his home building, has built some of the nicest type homes that I've been involved in with the Home Builders Association. And then Trent obviously is a good electrician, so I would highly recommend him.
Excellent. Any other comments? Please take a vote.
Master Todd.
Aye.
Master Wilkerson.
Aye.
Master Alexander.
Aye.
Master Warren.
Aye.
Master Putman.
Aye.
To give our animal control reports for this meeting, Miss Angie Hagenhorn, Director of Humane Society, with us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Has everyone had a chance to review the financials?
You made none?
Excuse me?
You had a positive netting.
I know. I'm so excited. But just so you know, that money I'm setting aside because Katie's going to go to training. She's going to go to get her level 2 training with the National Animal Care and Control. So that all that money will be used to send her to that training. The initial raises have gone into effect. So that's what we received, the increased funding for. So those raises have gone into effect. Our new hours have gone into effect, and they've been working well. However, I would like to just put it on record that we don't open until 12, and even though we are in the building at 9, it's because we have lots of animals to take care of and things that we have to get done before we can open to the public. And so if you ever get anyone that said they came to the shelter to surrender an animal and we wouldn't take it, it's most likely because we did not have the ability to take it at that time, because we have to, the intake is a process. They have to be assessed, they have to have parvo test, if it's a dog, if it's a puppy, they have to have intake shots, paperwork, and there's just a lot that goes into it. And from 9 until 12, we are all very busy in the shelter taking care of the animals that we already have. So I just wanted to put that out. Parvo and distemper have been extremely harsh this year. So please, I would encourage everyone to make sure that your pets are vetted, make sure they get all of their rounds of shots. Rabies is required every year. And whenever you get your rabies, bring it straight in and get your city-county tag. They're only $2. And you can only get them at the shelter. Also, if any of your people rent, like if you have property to rent, and you are changing your policy as far as pets are concerned, I wish that you would give us the heads up, because we need to know that. Because if we have a lot of people coming in to surrender animals because they are no longer able to have them, that puts an undue burden on us as well. Because we are an open intake shelter for Henderson County residents. If you're a Henderson County resident and you come in and say, I can no longer have this animal, then we have to take it in. But it would be nice if we had that heads up, because it does put it, and we just need to rearrange some things in the shelter. We need to be prepared for that. Officer Hill received his euthanasia training, and so he is actively, at this point in time, trained for his animal control duties. Humane Society's having a WAG walk September the 22nd, so it's one of the events that people can actually bring your animals to. They can walk you can walk, run, you can push your dog in a stroller, all of it's fine. Because a lot of our public events that we have, animals are not allowed. So this is one of the public events that they are allowed. And I'm still very interested in getting a workshop together to review the ordinances. So I would really like to, Katie and myself would really like to be involved in that. And unfortunately, one of our animal control trucks was rear-ended and received quite a bit of damage. So I need people to be patient with us while we're waiting to get the repairs done to that truck. Because unlike normal accidents, we can't just go get a rental car. So we're down to one animal control truck. And so if people are complaining that we're not responding to calls on time or in a timely manner, we're doing the best that we can. Henderson County is a pretty big county, and if you are out in Reed and you have a call that something's going on in Corden, it takes us a bit, okay? So I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. Are there any other questions or concerns?
Angie, on your hours, those are posted on the door?
Yes.
And on the website?
Yes.
Facebook page?
Everything that's posted everywhere. Every place that we could post it around the facility, we've posted. We have it on our website. So we have it whenever you call in. If you get the answering machine, it's listed on the answering machine. So,
at the WAG walk, are you going to have personnel there to maybe provide tags if people want to do the tagging right there?
We can do that. And we can even provide dogs. If somebody doesn't have a dog to walk, we can even do that.
Sounds good, actually. Any other?
But if they want to get their city-county tag, they have to bring proof of rabies. They have to show that they have received, that the dog is up to date on its rabies.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to, on getting that, I guess you and I and Randy, I think I volunteered to work on that. So just, and maybe Steve, I don't know if we need to have an attorney there to go over some of the ordinances.
It would be nice.
Yes. But I agree with you. We need to go ahead and move on.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns?
Just let me touch on what George brought up, that ordinance, and I was just sitting here thinking, there's no ordinances for feline or cats, correct?
Correct.
On the books. I know that's a huge undertaking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how many counties across the state even have ordinances that address felines.
They do not.
But is that being looked? I know it's a big animal to take on, but is there some discussion?
I am working with GRAD on getting the Northern Kentucky Area Development District. They received a foundation. They received a foundation grant for that ad district to address community cats, to get them spay and neutered, and to get them up to date on the shots. But with that, the community had to be participants in that, where they help us trap the cats, they bring them in, we take care of them getting spay or neutered through the grant, then the person returns them back where they found them. Okay, if we had to get into the business of catching and managing cats, I'm going to tell you that we would need to have at least 3 more officers.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
There is no possible way that we could manage that at all.
Yeah.
Because just the number of cats that come into we had 108 cats brought in stray. That's not counting older surrenders. 108 cats brought in just in the month of July.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and a lot of them, they're bringing in mama cats. They're getting ready to have babies. So then if you take those, then I'm going to looking at having at least 6 more kittens that I'm going to have to take care of. So it's a daunting task. But if we get this grant that the Northern Kentucky Area Development District got, it will help tremendously, because we are going to get these animals in, get them spay or neutered where they cannot reproduce. They're going to go back to the same area, so you're going to have your carrying capacity, just like whenever they were talking about the coyotes. You can kill them off, but there's going to be another one take its place. If you take that one out and you put it back in, that's its area, that's its home, and it will maintain that. But you're putting back a cat that can't reproduce and that's healthy back to the area. So that's how I feel like that we can best address the cat issue.
Do we have any vets that, I know when we catch, and they're returned down there, do we have any vets that's volunteering their services to do those services at no charge at this point?
No, we do not. And typically,
none of them interested, you don't think?
It usually costs about $60 to $75 to spay and neuter, clip the ear, get a rabies, and that's lowballing it. So if we take in 108 cats and we expect that service, that's quite a bit.
Sure.
So I just don't know. I mean, I would love to work with them and come up with a good solution so that we can address this, so that we are not taking in all of these cats and then trying to find homes for them, because it would be best for them. Their home was outside. That was their home. So I would much rather them be brought in, us get them fixed, vetted, and sent back out.
Yeah, I know. I have some parts of my district where I think there's some feral cats there, and there could be 10 or 12 of them that you see.
And we have a feral cat colony at our shelter, and we have it because we are on the river. We have lots of dog food and cat food, so it helps with rodent control. It helps with wildlife. It protects our environment. But we cannot add to that feral cat colony until some of the feral cat colony passes. So ours is at carrying capacity right now. We can't add any more. So it would be best for people to be able to bring them in and say, if we had that grant, then we can say we can do the vetting as long as you agree to pick them back up and take them and put them back where you found them, because they will be a healthier cat, and they won't have the issues once they have been spayed or neutered and been vetted. They won't have the same issues that they had with them before.
Well, thank you, Angie.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I must say, every time Angie talks about these things, I feel like I'm back in my college-level freshman biology class. I learned something new about feral cat colonies and the balance of life in ecosystems. So always interesting. Any other questions of Ms. Hagedorn? Thank you, and to Captain Crooks. Appreciate it.
Thank you
very much. Renisa couldn't be here today. We have our county clerk's report has been handed out. You want to come up? Anything else we need to know?
Carrie Smith.
Yeah.
I just have excess fees to turn over today in the amount of $121,747.83, and total remitted to the county from what I've already turned over was $162,478.77.
And I apologize, Carrie. Thank you very much.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions of Carrie? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd.
Aye.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Thank you very much. You also have in your packets Sheriff Brady's report for this month. Notice that he is not here, but does anybody have any questions?
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion, please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd. Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Mr. Gold, your report?
Judge, I've got several checks today. First, salaries, FICA, and retirement in the amount of $2,175.19. Supplement to Assistant County Attorney's salary, $458.33. Dental and life insurance, $331.69 and $4.86. Health insurance, $8,927 and $467.95. Interest in the amount of $34.71 and $173.56. Reimbursement for use of the county vehicle, $183.30. That was to send an employee that doesn't have the greatest transportation to a child support training. And also the balance in our check collection account. There's a statute that says that that is to be turned over to the fiscal court every year. That money is collected by the check collection program, and it is to be used for the use of the county attorney's office. That is amount is $2,681.43. Traditionally, I've made the request that you return that money to us so that we may continue to use that for operations of our funds. Several years ago, the state auditor said that since the statute says it has to be turned over, you couldn't just let it ride. We had to physically turn the check over, and then the fiscal court had to write a check back. So that is the request that I'm making once again this year.
Would you like us to take a vote on that request?
Please.
First of all, let's entertain a motion to accept the Henderson County Attorney payments.
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion on that? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd.
Aye.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
And I'll entertain a motion to turn back to the county attorney's office the balance in his check collection account for his use in his office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions of Steve on when he'll be traveling to Vegas on those funds or anything like that? No.
Not going to get very
Yeah.
far in that 2,000.
I trust you implicitly. We have a motion and a second. Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd.
Aye.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Ms. Hine in the bad check collection office will be glad to know that her paycheck will actually clear now. So.
Excellent. I'd like to call Treasurer Brenda Ryder up to present claims.
Thank you.
These are your bank balances after paying claims today. The day-to-day expense line items should be at approximately 16%. I have 2 additional claims to add. One from the general fund to Tompkins Hauling and Excavating in the amount of $700. This is to come from the building inspector's demolition line. The second is from the LGEA fund to the Niagara Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $5,701. This is for the reimbursement on their annual insurance premium.
Chance to review claims. I'll entertain any questions for Ms. Ryder on claims.
I will say Butch and I looked at them with the judge and Brenda yesterday, and we didn't see anything. There was something on, I think, in there on the parks that Butch brought up, but other than that, that was it.
It was on the, I believe, some drainage boxes.
That was to AA services in the total amount of $7,200. $3,600 of that was for drop boxes or drainage boxes for the fairgrounds. The remainder of the $3,600 was for the Sandy Lee Watkins Park. That is for a concrete pad for a silo which has been donated to the parks by the Fish and Wildlife, and it actually came from in the area of Martin Road.
And those both budgeted items.
Yes, sir.
Within the parks budget. So.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, Ms. Ryder? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd. Magistrate Wilkerson. Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren. Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
Thank you very much. As we begin this go to the county session, I'm going to ask Mr. Gold to give us a quick appraisal on a bit of business that came up yesterday that he'd like us and we'd like to address concerning the Henderson County Tourist Commission. You mind giving us a quick rundown on that, Steve?
Yes, Judge. As you may recall, the city-county cooperative group met along with the board of the Henderson County Tourist Commission to evaluate the Tourist Commission's recommendation that the city and the county join together in a joint Henderson Tourist Commission. And as a result of that, both the city and the county approved an interlocal agreement to create a joint tourist commission, and we amended our ordinance to say that the transient room tax is to be paid to this new entity. That leaves the old entity out there, the Henderson County Tourist Commission. We have the director with us today, Abby Dixon. It's my understanding that all of the assets and everything have been transferred over to the new entity, and DLG just needs something officially now from the county saying that the old organization that doesn't really exist anymore is officially dissolved, and that's what the resolution you have before you does.
So we have a very simple resolution in your packets dissolving the old Henderson County Tourist Commission. This is at the request of DLG. I could have the clerk read the entire resolution, but I do think the summary accurately describes what we're doing here. We're simply at the request of DLG dissolving the old Henderson County Tourist Commission. The new Henderson Tourist Commission is officially in place and up and operating. So, am I saying that correctly, Mr. Gold? Would anybody mind if we simply read the summary at the top of the resolution? If you don't mind, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution dissolving the Henderson County Tourist Commission due to the establishment of a joint tourist commission with the city of Henderson.
Motion to accept that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions on this topic for Mr. Gold or Ms. Dixon, who's with us? Please call for a vote.
Magistrate Todd. Magistrate Wilkerson.
Aye.
Magistrate Alexander.
Aye.
Magistrate Warren.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
And with that, if anybody from the audience would like to come to the podium and speak for the good of the county, welcome to. Okay. Magistrate Putman, anything you'd like to say for good of the county?
Thank you, Judge. Just, I couldn't help to notice, as all the handouts that Mr. Loney and Mr. May brought with you, if you don't think there's plenty to do at the library, if you just look here, here's a monthly for September and the additional items, so you can get whatever you want to read, watch, listen. So, again, I'm very proud of our library. Looking forward to the new edition, I was going to ask a question a minute ago, but was there any reason you couldn't go up with the present edition? You don't have to go into no big details about it, but you'd think they would design something that you could go up with.
I appreciate that, and from my understanding, of course, I wasn't in the community at that time. I've been here, actually, September 1 will be officially 3 years that I've been in the community, so I've got kids that are sort of Hendersonians, but at any rate, in 1979-80, when they were building the addition on the back of the original Carnegie Library that opened its doors in 1904, the initial plans were that the pillars and everything would be done in such a way that we could go straight up on those in the future. That was something that was a casualty of budget cuts when they did change directors, and that was the beginning of a very young man named Donald Wathen's tenure at the library, and there was an awful lot of slash and burn and tightening waistband and all that sort of stuff that had to happen, and as a result, it would be massively more expensive to go straight up because we would have to go down to go up and essentially evacuate the library now in order to do all of that. So it was much better to go to a two-story addition on the other end of that 79-80 addition, which was augmented slightly in the year 2000 with an L-shaped addition that expanded the structure slightly toward the parking lot and toward the neighbors.
Yeah, I was sitting here and I said, I didn't really want to get into it, but I appreciate it, Caleb, because I was just wondering what.
Not a problem.
Why
And,
you couldn't go up.
For the good of the county, as you say, those things in you all's packet, Hoopla Digital is the newest digital offering that the library has, and that started August the 1st, and you all have a little card on that. But it works just like Netflix or Hulu. You can get movies, television show episodes, books, ebooks, audiobooks, all right on your device, and every patron can do 4 of those each month, and so that's a wonderful service.
Some bargains.
Very, very glad to see that being used already by our patrons, and of course the librarian's heart is with the printed word, and it just really does my heart good that right now e-audio that people will listen to, books while they commute and so forth, is right there tracking with movies. So it's definitely great to have movies and TV shows, but just more ways to engage with the written word, I think, is a good thing.
Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it. Judge, all good in the fourth.
Thank you very much. Magistrate Warren.
Basically pretty good. The one thing I will be doing today is riding with Jeff and looking at roads for possible blacktop needs. One thing I would like, and I'd be, again, more than glad to serve, because if I'm going to complain about something, I don't mind volunteering to serve. But I guess it was Butch and I were sitting there with the judge from Davis County, and he said that he thought that Davis County was saving somewhere in the $250,000 per year with the private contracting on mowing. So through December 31, I'd be glad to look at going into next year or something, the opportunities that may be out there, if it would be viable for us to do. Because I just know now I still do get calls about mowing alongside the county roads. So I'm thinking that maybe the private contracting might be a way to go, either one to supplement and or to be the main mowing source. So.
I believe I have some records that he emailed me because I asked him a similar question, and I'll forward those to you,
Okay.
and look forward to hearing what you come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by doing that, though, we're not talking about reducing any employees. But
No,
maybe looking at better utilizing them.
Yeah, they got plenty to do.
Yeah, doing the work as opposed to the mowing. But it was an interesting conversation we had with Judge Mattingly over that.
But otherwise, things are fine.
Okay, thank you. Magistrate Alexander.
I have nothing at this moment.
Magistrate Wilkerson.
Everything's good in the fifth.
Magistrate Todd.
I have one thing. We had of course, a call from a buddy about cleanups in this year in the community. So we may want to look at scheduling the fall cleanup. I'm going to talk with Charles about it since he's.
And that involves getting with Nancy Watkins
Mhm.
and coordinating some of those, so about that time of year.
Yep.
Let us know how that goes.
That's all. I think I'm aware.
Mr. Gold?
Judge, I want to thank again Mr. Kubiak and his crew and all they've done to help us out in our office. We're finally getting close to being done, thankfully. And most of the actual construction is done. Now it's getting all the stuff that we had over in storage back into the office and into the right places. And hopefully we're already getting a lot of compliments from the public about how much easier it is, how much more inviting it is, once they can figure out how to get past the weird mirror doors that got put up. But once they get in, they're very happy with the experience that they're having there, and that's something that I think is a testament to the work that they've done and the design help that we had with that. So we really appreciate all that they've done. And I wanted to mention to the folks at the library, thank you for everything that you do. My family and I were there, if not on a couple of times a week basis, at least a weekly basis. And even when we don't set foot in the library, my wife and I both get a lot of books from Overdrive, the Kentucky Libraries Unbound. You can check out a lot of books and audiobooks without ever setting foot in the library. And we had a subscription to Consumer Reports until we realized that you could get that for free through the library too. So that's we've been definitely getting use out of our library, whether we're there or not. But we're in the building a lot, and we see a lot of the things that are going. And I think the leadership there is very solid. And I thank you for everything y'all are doing.
Judge, excuse me, I do have one other thing. I'm going to mention that the Kentucky Association of Counties is proud to offer a Kentucky Home Down Payment Assistance Program. It's a gift of up to 5% of your loan. It's for anybody in the county. It doesn't be a county employee. It doesn't have to be a first-time home buyer. And there is some eligibility to it, a 640 credit rating, but there is a few steps you have to qualify for. But I think it's a great program for individuals that who are renting, that can't afford a down payment, or you use it as a down payment or closing cost or just part of your loan. So it's rolled out. It's I think some counties is using it. So it's something to be looking at in the future.
And if you wouldn't mind, Magistrate Todd, if you can, you or somebody, Keiko, can forward me that information. I've seen a little bit about that. We can put it on our website. I really would like to try to make that as well known as possible in Henderson County, because I do think that's a nice little added benefit.
I got it. I have some. I'll email you some information. And local banks, you have to. The lending institution has to also qualify. So our local banks and credit unions stuff may want to contact Keiko and be qualified for this also. That's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gold. I do want to, since Abby is with us today, pass along big compliments. The weekend was terrific with free concert in the park with the Henderson Area Arts Alliance. And, in the last 2 days, I've heard from several restaurateurs downtown who are really impressed with all the work that both our Tourist Commission, DHP, and Lindsay Locasto, and in partnership with many other organizations are doing to create entertainment opportunities downtown that are driving traffic to our riverfront and our streets, that are helping businesses downtown, visitors to our community who see the downtown in this kind of light, always compliment Henderson, and just there has been more of it, and people are taking notice, and it's always good to see. It's obviously a part of the city, but the city is part of the county, and I think what helps the downtown and helps the city helps the county. So kudos to you. People are noticing this work, and keep it up. I had a long conversation with Marcos Nicholas at Talkaholics, who had another good idea, and I'd maybe like to talk to you about that, cooking up with him about something a little bit more Hispanic themed too, which might be a heck of a good idea. Had a great chance last night to discuss local economy and jobs issues with the local chapter of the NAACP and its director, Deborah Hoda. It was a very good discussion. It was a full house, 35-plus people in the library's meeting space, and a lot of good information from both Bobby Jarrett at the Housing Authority, who's doing a lot of great job programs, as well as John Coombs with the local pipe fitters and union establishment, who are still sponsoring terrific apprenticeship programs. And as we all heard at the Local Issues Conference last week, apprenticeships are a renewed focus of Department of Labor and Education here at the state level, and I do think that pushing more people towards the skilled trades is absolutely a solution for creating more jobs for kids and getting them better pay. And there are certainly multiple dozens, if not hundreds, of openings in the skilled trades here in our region in Henderson County. So that was a great discussion. I enjoyed being invited to participate, and there may be a couple things that grow out of that, hopefully, that again help push young people and adults towards the jobs that are available here in Henderson County, and there are many, many jobs available in Henderson County. Appreciate everybody being here today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.